Good morning. It's Sunday. Maybe you're getting ready for church. I hope you are. Yes, it's me. Velda took out the shears and gave me a good shearing last night. Uh, I used to wear it like this all the time, and here recently I got to thinking, man, I spent a lot of time messing with my hair. I don't like it, so I got her to bust it all off. Now I feel more like me. They used to call me Bullet Head. Anyway, we're in chapter 5 of the book of Isaiah. Yesterday we made a good beginning. And it says, Now I will sing to my well-beloved, song of my beloved, touching his vineyard. And you will see that this is the same parable of the vineyard that Jesus would tell in chapter 21 of Matthew. Now I will sing to my well-beloved a song touching his vineyard. I will sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it, and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. What could have been done more to my vineyard, that I have not done it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. What more could I do than I did? Say it again. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Is there anything else that I could have done? But it brought forth wild grapes instead of the grapes that I expected. Verse 5, and now I go, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down, and I will lay it waste. It shall not be pruned, nor digged. But there shall come up briars and thorns. And I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. He looked for judgment, but behold, oppression. For righteousness, behold, a cry. Now, beginning in verse 8, God has told Israel, I've done everything I could do for you. And then he tells Judah, I've done everything I could do for you. He switched to talking directly to Judah. O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. Now, there are some things in here that are for Jerusalem at that very time, and there are things that are for the first coming of Christ which have been fulfilled. There are times for the second coming of Christ which have not been fulfilled, and there are some for us which have been, are being, and may be fulfilled, at least in application. So we won't be able to finish today, not nearly, because this will probably be a shorter program, because I've got to get ready to go to church. Verse 8, chapter 5 of Isaiah. These are the woes, 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 woes. I can't remember whether there's 7 or 8, but there's a bunch of woes here. Woe is me. Whoa. Gloom, despair, and agony on me. Oh. Verse 8, woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. Good morning, Travis. God bless you. Woe unto them that join house to house. You know, one house ain't good enough. Let's get 2. My field is not big enough. I want the one next to it, and the one next to me on the other side, and the one next to me on the other side, and the one next to me on the other side. And then when I have them, I'm going to buy more. Until they mar the inheritance of all the people, until there's the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of mankind, which began in 1981. From the middle class to the ruling class. Something like $50 trillion or more. It's all about. Hey, I'm sorry that your back is hurting, Travis. We'll pray for you. I hope you're able to go to church. They will pray for you there. That they may be, the rich people, they take everything the poor people's got so that they can be placed alone in the midst of the earth. Like they're their own mountain, like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all these wicked men. All these wicked men. Peter Thiel, Zuckerberg, all these evil men. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field. Bill Gates, he's buying up farmland in Missouri. That ought to be against the law. He ain't a farmer, and he doesn't plan on growing anything. He is buying farms to cut production of food that kills people. Of course, it doesn't matter now because we'll have tariffs on all the crops, so the farmers will just have to let them rot in the fields. They're not going to take to market crops they can't sell or herds that they lose money on. They'd rather eat them themselves and go out of business. And that's how it's going to be all day long, no matter what the rich people want. We shall not be moved. You can't intimidate us. You can't hurt us. You can't threaten us. You can't bully us. I don't care, from the littlest bully like Stephen Miller all the way up to the big bully himself. We will not move. Nobody's going to come and tell me what's what. I ain't going to allow it. I'm a grown man, and I don't listen to lesser men. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. Oh, it's only us. We're the gods of the universe. We're going to rule everything. That's who they are. That's who they think they are. And they are empowered by the gods of the earth, led by the head god of the earth, Satan, the devil himself, that old dragon which deceiveth the whole world. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. You see, what we're seeing now is not anything new. When Solomon said there's nothing new under the sun, he was right. If it's new, it ain't true. If it's true, it ain't new. If you've lived any amount of time, you should have learned that by now. Just as you know that new and improved is neither new nor improved. It's always the same old thing, only not as good and worse and more expensive. New and improved is just a marketing gimmick to get you to pay more for less. less in quantity and less in quality, daily. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. He's speaking to the ruling class of Judah, whose capital and headquarters for their thieveries and their chicaneries and their schemes was Jerusalem. God is talking through Isaiah to Judah. He could just as easily be talking to us, because the same things are true of us. Verse 9, in mine ears, said the Lord of hosts. This is Isaiah talking about what God has said. Of a truth, many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant. You know, that happened in the Great Depression. People thrown out of their houses, people losing their fortunes and killing themselves, going to other countries, Canada and Europe, where it wasn't any better there than it was here. I think some of the people that went off to Mexico fared better. That's where Mitt Romney's ancestors went during the Great Depression. They went to Mexico with money in their pocket and sat down there to wait it out. They did okay. George Romney, Mitt's father, he got to be the president of American Motors. I know they wanted to make a good car, but I don't think they ever did, except I kind of liked that Gremlin. I thought it was pretty cool. Of course, you can't count Jeep. They bought Jeep. And then, of course, Chrysler has it now, which I think even Chrysler's called something else now. I can't remember what it is. They keep changing the names. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. In mine ears, said the Lord of hosts. Of a truth, many houses shall fall. Many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant. These nice houses you people build, Isaiah says, they're going to be empty because you're going to be dead. You're going to be starved to death, or you're going to be taken captive, or you're going to be killed in battle. And the fowls of the air, the beasts of the field will eat your flesh. There won't be anybody cares enough about you to bury you. I mean, really. I mean, you think about some of these rich people you see on TV. If they died, who would bury them? They don't have any friends. Maybe they probably already paid for it ahead of time, but some of them may not, because I think some of them actually think they are gods, and they're not thinking about dying. It's unimaginable to them that the world would go on without them. That's how huge their ego is. It's all about them. Both leaders and followers alike. Yea, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield one bath. That's like 8 gallons. And the seed of a homer shall yield but an ephah. A homer's 86 gallons. An ephah is less than 2 bushels. It's a bushel, a quart, and a half. 86 gallons is going to yield a bushel and 3 pints. That's it. You know how much 86 gallons is? Well, them big drums is 55 gallons. You know how big a bushel is, because you've bought a bushel of apples before, or a bushel of onion or a bushel of corn or peaches. Though I like peaches. So I became allergic to peaches when I was 37 years old. It was a freak thing. Peach was my favorite. Peach ice cream, peach cobbler, peach pie with peach ice cream on it. And then all of a sudden, I ate some peaches when I was 37 years old and I had an anaphylactic reaction. I've been allergic ever since. And I've even tested it to see if it had been a fluke or not and had to go to the hospital. So I know now have severe anaphylactic reactions to peaches, but I know how big a bushel of them are, and it's a whole lot less than 86 gallons. If you're poor, you may have picked a bushel of apples or pears. It's possible. We used to pick fruit. We didn't do it for money. We did it to eat. And we used to help too. We used to help gather and pick. And then all of us kids, we would get, we would get a basket full of figs or something so that our mothers or grandmothers, in my case, could make preserves, or we'd get a big old sack of apples or something, for working. Those kids, I'm talking about kids, 10, 11, 12 years old, trying to help out the family. That's the first time I said it like that in years that I could remember. I learned how to speak English mainly. I know I have this pronounced accent from Texas, but I used to say family, like it was spelled Fambly, family, like we're the Harris family, because that's what I heard in my ears. So that's how I thought it was. And for a long time, it didn't knock. I would read family in prose or in a poem or in a book, whatever. I understood completely what it meant, but it still said family in my mind. "10 acres is going to yield 8 gallons. 10 acres of the vineyard, 10 acres of grapes, 10 acres of the vine and the branches. 10 acres is a lot of grapes, and they're going to yield 8 gallons of wine or pulp, or maybe it's just 8 gallons of raw grapes. And the seed of a homer, which is 86 gallons, is going to bring only a bushel and 3 pints. That ain't much. In other words, all your great crops are going to fail. All your great enterprises are going to fail. All your deals, your business deals, all of your contracts, all of your thefts, all of your connivances, all of your larceny, plus any honest business you might happen to be doing. But we find that among the corporate people. See, corporations are corrupt anyway, so you don't expect moral behavior from a corporation. They're in the business of robbing us blind. The business of an insurance company is not to pay claims. The business of an insurance company is to not pay claims. That is their business. That's how they get rich. We're corrupt from the soles of our feet to the top of our head as a country because of money and ego. the desire of some men to rule over others. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. Bill Gates, he wants to lower the population of the world. The World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, just like the villain from a James Bond movie, and his mad scientist, Noah Yuval Harari, a self-loathing Jew, an atheist, and homosexual, thinks that he's got the plan for the world, you know. Well, they think that we ought to get the population down to between, let's say, 500 million and 1 billion. Well, there's over 8 billion people here now. So that means they're going to have to kill 7 billion people to wind up with that. Why? So that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. The push for transhumanism, the push for robotics, automation. They say they're going to get rid of workers, but the end goal is to get rid of people. That's what behind it all is, a culture of death. That's why they're still aborting over 1 million babies a year legally. No telling how much they're doing illegally. And that's just the United States, beloved. That's not the whole world. I'm sure that China aborts far more than that. And the ones that they don't abort, the parents kill, because for 20, 30 years under the one-child policy in China, of course, that's all falling apart now because of demographics. And young men don't have anybody to marry. But since you could only have one child, they wanted a son to carry on the name or whatever, you know. And so they would let the babies die, the female babies die. They would let the girls die, just like they did 100 years ago. They would throw them out on the dung pile because they didn't think another girl, she'd just be a mouth to feed and she couldn't work as hard as the boys. So they put her on the dung pile. That's how it was then. That's how it is now. They're just a little more antiseptic about it. So that they could be placed alone in the midst of the earth. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. In mine ears, said the Lord of hosts, of a truth, many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant. Sound like a reduction in the population, doesn't it? Well, that's what depressions and plagues and pestilences and famines and droughts do. Yea, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield 1 bath. 10 acres of grapes produce, 10 acres of vineyard produces 8 gallons of grapes. Even if it's 8 gallons of wine, that ain't much. And the seed of an homer shall yield an ephah. That means 86 gallons of seed that you sowed would only produce 1 bushel and 3 pints out of all that seed. That is because the curse was upon them. And in the name of the God who lives forever, before I stand, whom I stand and whom I serve night and day, except when I'm rebellious and sin. I am a wicked man sometimes. I have terrible thoughts. I get depressed, I get sad, and I shouldn't because God is in control. But I've got good company in the Bible. So did Elijah. So did Jeremiah. So did Jesus, my Savior, my Master, is a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, who had no place to lay his head. That's who he is. So I'm not too worried about it. But this woe upon the earth is a woe against greed and ego, or if you want to call it arrogance, hubris, self-centeredness, selfishness, whatever name you want to choose. It's where I only care about a number one. I want to talk about me. I want to talk about me. I want to talk about my. I want to talk about number one. Oh my, me, my. It's all about me. Well, it was all about them then. They would destroy people. They would destroy lands. They would destroy people by starvation and by ending their employment so that they could be alone in the midst of the earth. And that's how these new gods of the universe see themselves. They're better than we are, and we don't matter except to vote for them and keep them in power so that they can keep, how did Isaiah phrase it? So that they can keep beating us to pieces, Isaiah 3:15, and grinding our faces. God said he didn't like it too much, and I would venture to say he doesn't like it now. Woe unto them. Woe unto them. Because they want to be alone in the midst. That is their great sin. Me, only me. No matter who gets killed, no matter how much I have to steal, no matter what lies I have to tell, no matter what crimes I have to commit, me in the midst, alone, in the midst of the earth. God bless you, beloved. Well, for some reason it won't turn off.